Do I need to press this called continue or?
Yes, press that continue button.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are well and healthy. So wonderful tonight, all of us joining the practice of meditation. So before we begin meditation tonight, first let's do a prayer. And then after that, I give a Dharma talk. And then we do sitting practice. So first, join me to a supplication to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Nasi namdaraji, trashi juju, sangi chöda, kula jasa dacha, trashi sho, dime yabo, zeten dudu, shebe yebe kara, kula gomba yajir dabaje, lumbo darba sarjaba, simje damje lagun drabe, yisam zepa zerabata. Sensam tebe tashi pepe devara shukpa kela shasa jambe shunu paden durje zi chire siwa gubo jambe sai nyumpo tipa nambra se namke nyumpo pacho kundu upe durje pegara lushinda nubo dawa rti nyimai chase lelnam durje Chanju Sempa Gela Chaza Lo Rinjin Dojo Tashi Sirkinya Dojo Buzayi Kama Nyenda Dunda Punzo Pepe Minu Geze Wanyuro Kulo Rinjin Tajo Yegi Shaten Chodu Gewa Chujin Gigima Geso Wo Tepe Pepe Trashi Lamu Gela Chaza Lo Samba Chimpo de Jung Seme Mikto Denda Gelpo Yulkor Sung Pake Pota Lua Mikbisa Namte Sede Laze Kolo Tang Tishu Ladam Lutung Dorje Piwang Rati Chude Gezenzi Sasum Nesu Gile Trashi Jigde Gyowa Gela Chazelo Daja Tindire Chawa Zumbada Geda Nyewara Tsewa Kunjini De Bebe Samde Yishin Drup Trashi Dele Pusum Tso Para Ishu Daja Tindire Chawa Zumbada Geda Nyewara Tsewa Kunjini De Bebe Samde Yishin Drup Trashi Dele Pusum Soparasho Daja Dindre Jawa Zambala Geda Nyewara Tsewa Kunjine Dede Bebe Samde Yishin Trashi Dele Pusum Soparasho Jumlende Paragun Bujiz Jame Yana Jazaro Gangiro Rimiri Damta Reservation Does a better mother no use a better Zogona Puja to the Yana to Jane, so to the Shiru, Monino language to the Jamada. Then is a just a jitter thing in the Zigazet of Ego Jiraja, Junior, Talamus, Jampariona, to whom Marapanati, 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 Marapanati. Marapanati, 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 Marapanati. Marapanati, 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 Marapanati. Marapanati, 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 Marapanati. Marapanati, Marapanati, Marapanati. Gumda de Jajichin, Ubetana Shara Bridge, Levans Imagine. Gumbo Jambayana Chasset, Concept Tower the bomb, choose a Jiver than a young Gumbo Jimmy. Came a Poriot, Concept Tower the bomb to the Gombochame thingy came putting out to wash because the tower the bomb to the timber to Naya Gombochame came putting out on what I show. But then La Maribuchi, Tagage would have been made in Jula, couldn't Chimbe villages. Kusun took in troops out to. So giving a Dharma talk, if you look back how Buddha gave the Dharma talk, when Buddha gave the teaching, he talked about Four Noble Truth. The very first sermon of turning the wheel of Dharma, he talked about Four Noble Truth. But normally we think that Dharma talk is something so outwardly, something nothing to do with this world, but something beyond mind, or something extraordinary mind, which is across, far away. Like people say, where is God? They point the finger in the sky. When people say, where is Bhagwan? They point the finger in the sky. And so does all the religion, and including when we talk about Dharma in Buddhism, we think about Dharma is something so profound, something far out, it's way beyond something, and we're trying to bring that into our life. I think that's a misunderstanding. After all, when we look, this very mind can be the heaven, and this very mind can be the earth. This very mind can be the ignorance, and this very mind can be the liberation. So really, everything is in our mind. And if you look, when Buddha gave the teaching, the very first thing Buddha said was not really something outwardly teaching in the Four Noble Truth. In fact, he went to the most basic that we all feel, the very thing that we all come to the Dharma is suffering. And really, Buddha didn't even explain about suffering, how suffering is, or what kind of suffering. He simply said, understand suffering, because we know suffering. We all know suffering. We know pain. We know misery. We know suffering, and we know suffering of all kinds. It's simply the teaching specifically explained, such as like suffering of suffering, change of suffering, unconditional suffering. And then, of course, suffering of birth, suffering of old age, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death. Is not something new to us. It's something that we know, we experience, and we want to get out of it. But somehow our minds got so confused that we need someone to remind us to wake up. If we are suffering, you don't have to feel lost. In fact, the first thing you need to do is recognize the suffering, acknowledge this suffering. Therefore, this very thing, this very core of the issue that we're all trying to get rid of in our life, in every hour, every minute, every second, we try to get rid of suffering. And we are trying to get rid of suffering. We all our action, whether it's right action or wrong action, whether it's right thinking or wrong thinking, whether it's the right speech or wrong speech. We always try to get rid of the suffering. That's our core issue in our life. 24 hours, we are trying to get rid of suffering. So why now it is, why did Buddha then, why is it called noble truth? What's noble about suffering? The question is, the why Buddha explain about this thing that we already know. And why is it called noble? If you ask the question to yourself, because nobody really told us that if you want to get rid of your suffering, you need to first address suffering. You know, if you are hungry, you don't put an ointment on your face or on your hand, but you rather eat something or drink something directly. That's going to solve the problem of thirst and hunger. Same thing, if you want to get rid of the suffering, you need to first recognize that you have suffering. That's the first noble truth. So Dharma is, you know why Dharma is called method, skillful means. Dharma is called skillful means because it knows how to deal directly with the issue. Anything which deals directly with the issue, it works. It may be painful, but it works. We don't want to hear about suffering. We may rather want to hear about glory, beauty, liberation, all those things. But realistically, that may not happen until you deal with the core of the issue here is suffering. And what kind of suffering you're going through. So just like imagining something or fantasizing something or wish fulfilling thinking, someone will come up and take you up. Like, you know, I think Star Wars movie, they say, beam me up, Scotty. You know, that's not going to happen. So if you want to understand suffering, you need to understand this manure. You need to understand the soil. If, like, for example, you want to know about flower, if you just think of flower, you can't get flower. If you want to get a flower, you need to think about the soil. You need to think about the earth. You need to think about the wetness. You need to think about the manure. Then the flower will come out of it. Same thing, if you want to find liberation, first you really have to see the suffering that's happening in our life, and particularly for human beings, the suffering of birth, suffering of old age, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death, which is inevitable. We cannot escape from that. We all have to go through that. And then when we see that we have suffering, then this next question is, the next noble truth is. So the truth, now here, then it gets deeper now. So where did it come from? We really have to know. It is something, some external power has given that to us, such as demons or devil or Satan or whatever we may call negative force. Have they given to us? Or is something happened directly with our own mind? Because one who experiences suffering is your mind. So then where in your mind, how did that happen that you go through this suffering? And then obviously, when you look into your mind, you may, all this kind of suffering, whether it's suffering, conditional suffering, basically, you know, change of suffering, conditional, all this thing is how you look at things. It's your own makeup, in other words. Your mind made it up. So then when you look at how your mind made it up, under certain influence, you were drinking, you got drunk, intoxicated, or you took a drug that is influencing, you are hallucinating, or what is the cause that you don't want it. You don't even want it for a minute. You don't want it for a second, but you have no control over it. And it's just happening in your life, like 24 hours. So what is the cause? Then we see that, the second noble truth, we realize that the cause of our suffering is afflictions and deeds, neurotic afflictions or emotional afflictions and deeds that we engage into those. And that's what causes that suffering. And so what causes the affliction then? Then you go further deeper. What causes the affliction? That like you lost power is ignorance. That's what's called ignorance. It's almost like you're no longer yourself. Of course, it is you. Your ignorance is your own mental ignorance. It's not somebody else's ignorance. It's your personal mental ignorance. But it's almost like your ignorance. You lost power over your life. You're like a floating paper now. Wherever the wind blows, you go in that direction. So the wind blows of different afflictions. The wind blow of attachment, desire. The wind blow of anger. The wind blow of jealousy. The wind blow of all kinds of affliction comes, that you are trapped into it, and you shape up your mental different phenomena, inner phenomena, external phenomena. And then you go through the experience of this phenomena. Your physical experience, your mental experience, your family experience, your life situation, which is constantly changing and constantly being influenced by those afflictions. And the root cause is ignorance. So now that is the second noble truth. And the root cause of ignorance, when it really pinpointing, is the grasping mind, the attachment, the clinging mind. The clinging to everything makes our mind small, makes our mind narrow, makes our mind tight, makes our mind fearful. Anyone who is lost, wandering, are fearful. Like some teenage, we hear in the news, teenage, they get lost and then they're wandering in the street, they have no shelter, they're sleeping on the street and they're open to all kinds of danger in their life. Likewise, we become danger in this samsara. We are like a homeless in a way because you lost your ground. You lost your awareness. And therefore you are now trapped by ignorance. And then under the influence of the ignorance, then all the habits of afflictions. So one is floating in that big ocean, sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes, born in the higher realms, sometimes born in the middle realms, sometimes born in the lower realms. And every day we go through, in fact, we go through the experience of 6 realms every day. Sometimes we have like the joy or the pride like the gods. Then sometimes we have the jealous like the jealous realm or the titans or the demigods. And then sometimes we have that confused, doubtful like human being. And we know the rest of all afflictions of what each person's go through. And then sometimes we are like so stupid like animals. And then sometimes we get greedy like hungry ghosts. And then sometimes we go through the agony of anger, like no space, total claustrophobia, We go through this extreme experience every day. Like there's a saying, in the midst of fire, there's no coolness. In the midst of swamp, there is no perfume. You know, that's how we live. That's the power of ignorance. So therefore, we always feel like something is bothering, something is dissatisfied, something is not complete, like constantly like a hungry ghost, so to speak, and going after, and never finding the ground, what's our true nature is. So that's the second noble truth. Buddha said, if you have suffering, then you see the cause of suffering. Then the third noble truth is eliminate the very cause, which is ignorant. And then by eliminating that, that's called, then you can cessation. You can have stopped the cycle of that affliction and the ignorance, and then liberation take place, nirvana. So you see, it's very clear how Buddha mentioned in one person's life, in one person's mind, how step by step by step by step. That's the most profound teaching of, you know, in the non-theistic tradition of Buddhism. It's so real. It doesn't say there's a savior going to come. You can do all the mess, everything, and then go and pray and then confess, and then everything is, someone will take care of you. You're gone. That never happened. Therefore, you are here. If it would have happened, it would have happened a long time ago. We have, in the succession of our life, you know, we have become shamans, born as shamans, praying to sun and praying to moon and praying to taking refuge in the trees and taking refuge in the water. Then, you know, Christianity is fairly new. Well, maybe 3,000
I'm
years
going to take a
old.
walk while I'm listening. I need to stretch my legs.
Who is that? So then, you know, even a religion which has come like about 3,000 years or 5,000, they're still new, nothing old. There are so many religions of all kinds happened throughout. Billions and billions of religions have come, and billions of ideas have come. And so many has spoken about there is some external one, and they have different names and different ideas, and they will be the savior. And that never happened. So we've been searching something outside while missing to look directly within us. Within us. The very root cause of ignorance is within our mind. How to deal with that? It's like a little child on a bed who get entertained by their parents or elderly telling stories before they go to bed, you know. And so we've been living like a fantasy world, you know, or like Michael Jackson in Neverland, so to speak. His fantasy, living in the realm of fantasy, Neverland, whatever it's called. So we live like in a Neverland, so to speak. But the real issue is right here, within you. You don't have to go search outside. You could just look into your own mind. Therefore, it's called noble truth. There's a reason why Buddha's teaching is called noble truth. Buddha wasn't afraid to speak about suffering. Buddha never said you will find liberation, the first thing. He said, first you understand suffering. Then if you understand suffering, recognize suffering, then you look what's the cause. Once you eliminate the cause, then there will be end. He didn't say that now that's good enough. You don't need to do anything. I will take care of you. He never said that. He said, if you take care of it, if you see the cause of it, and you work and eliminate them, liberation is there. Third noble truth, cessation is there. And whoever follows directly working with oneself. That is called the noble truth of path. You see, no brainwashing, no lie, no deception. But we all like deception. We like promises. We like salvation from outside. We like to fool ourselves. We've been fooling ourselves for like billions and billions and eons, not like years. We've been for immeasurable life. For so long time, we've been fooling ourselves to this very day, to this very moment. While I'm talking, we're all, like trapped in our ego. We couldn't see our ignorance. So now it's time to wake up. Buddha said, I've shown you the path of liberation. Now it's up to you. He didn't say, I will take care of it. You go to work. If you work with your mind, you will find liberation. If you don't, it's not going to happen. A teacher is like a guide. It's called supreme guide, not just an ordinary guide, a supreme guide who leads you to the path of liberation. But you have to walk with the guide. And you have to see the world through your own eyes, hear with your own ears, taste with your own mouth, smell with your own nose, touch with your own hand. Then you know the guide took you to the place, and then you see that world of liberation you can see. But if you just let the guide go, you pay a money to the guide, and then okay, can you just do it for me? He cannot do it for you. Like if you're hungry, you have to eat the food yourself. No one can eat it for you and you get satisfied. You're going to eat it yourself. Same thing, teachers, the Buddha is called the supreme guide because he told the truth. And sometimes it's painful. Like, we think, okay, why did Buddha take me to liberation, heaven, just praying? Yes, the prayer will work, but the prayer of compassion, the prayer of bodhisattva, the prayer of wisdom, it will lead us to the wisdom state, not just like, wish-fulfilling thinking someone else can do it for you. That will never happen. If that's the case, why would, what's the point of giving teaching? There's no need to give teaching. If someone can do the job, if someone has really created you, then whoever can create it will dissolve it within themselves. There will be nothing to do. It's total waste for you to do meditation, total waste for you to do practice compassion, total waste for you to investigate. It's a total lie then. There's no point because you have no longer power. You are a creation of a creator, and you basically like, a tool, and you have nothing to do. But that's not the case. When you have that pain, do you tell God, take some of my pain away? It doesn't work like that, really. Or Bhagwan, take some of my pain away. Allah, take some of my pain away. Sun and moon and trees and water, shamans, take my pain away. No one can take your pain away. No, they can steal your happiness. No, they can steal your pain or take away your pain. You have to go through whatever you have created. Your cause and effect, your conditions are all your own creation. So that's one thing very important to understand, that, Buddha gave the teaching in accordance to our mind, according to a situation, in accordance to our condition, not something outside of the world. He didn't, he's not from Venus, coming in the human world. Or he's not giving a teaching of Venus or Mars or Jupiter. He's giving teaching on this planet Earth to planet human beings. So therefore, we have to understand, very important. I ask people, please study Four Noble Truths. Listen to Four Noble Truths. And one of the great teaching of Four Noble Truths, you can listen to His Holiness Dalai Lama's talk. You can get that on YouTube. That's the beauty of technology today. YouTube, his son is Dalai Lama's teaching on Four Noble Truths, translated by Geshe Jimba, who is an excellent translator. Some other translator, you know, they're trying their best, but I don't get satisfied. What I saw, Geshe Jimba's translation is excellent. So please listen to Dalai Lama's teaching on the Four Noble Truths. Listen to that not just one time. Listen to that again and again and again until you really understood what is the Four Noble Truth. So this is very important. So then now once we understand, okay, I can see now, so many times I've given teaching in the past, I even explain how the ignorance mind work. Ignorance do not have any valid ground. Ignorance it cannot stand by itself because it's based on false perception. Like the sense of me, I, meanness, I-ness. This whole feeling of I is such a big deception. This whole ego is the biggest deception of all time in our life. In a one person life, the biggest deception that you have faced in the past, from the past, at the present, is your ego mind, which when you look into it, you cannot find. You try to search for ego, you cannot find ego. Yet it seems to be coming. Your mind is habituated. I'm saying habituated again and again coming to this mind. But then when you really look directly into his mind, then you cannot find. So now when we talk about mind is, almost like outer level, inner level, secret level. When you talk about mind, you can see the ignorance part of the mind, gross ignorance part of the mind, subtle ignorance part of the mind. And then you can see like the very, very subtle but very, very subtle part of the ignorance. It's like there's a sense of grasping. There's a sense of tightness. There's a sense of mind feeling like if I don't hold it to myself, I'm going to lose. That fear, it projects in our mind. So it makes you panic all the time. You lose your ground, who you are. And that's where the practice of meditation comes to deal with that. And that's where the practice of meditation brings prajna, or the wisdom, the third noble truth, cessation, that through that, then you can, liberate that sense of fear, the sense of I call it forgive me if I'm not very good with grammar, either the fear of survival or survival of the fear, whatever you put it, like the ego is like always in fear. So it's really trying to bring, it has to play with your emotion. The ego has to go through your emotion. Otherwise, ego cannot identify itself. It needs some kind of false identity, like a split personality. It's not just, it's a very schizophrenic, of course, schizophrenic mind is like one of the very mind going further wrong, not only like, someone just simply have an ego, which is already a wrong, but then it goes multiple wrong. So it's like a sense of grasping, sense of fear of losing something. And when you really look, you can't find. But nevertheless, due to that karma, due to that cause and effect, we go through it, that condition, emotion and thoughts, until that the cause of that condition is not purified or got rid of, or cessation or exhaustion, whatever words you use it. The situation changes when the cause is exhausted, means it's completion. Anything in life, like if you eat something, the last bite is the end of the food. then you no longer see a food on your plate. If you're eating a burger, you keep chewing. Finally, the last bite is the end of your burger at that moment. You see? So like that, every condition has its beginning, has its middle, has its end. So therefore, as long as the condition, nature of the condition remains, you're going to go through that experience. Joy or fear, or joy and fear mix, joy and pain mix, a little bit more pain or a little bit more joy, or mix all kinds of things based on your condition. And then when you really look deeper, they're all devoid of any inherent existence. They're all interdependent. See how clear it is what Buddha explained? It's not independent, it's interdependent. So much complexity. And therefore, for example, when we go through a life situation, in life we go through lots of different emotions. Sometimes you feel so rigid in your mind that certain things so hard to solve. But then there's sometimes just something clicks in your mind, a new idea or way of looking at, and you let go of whole thing. Certain thing you couldn't let go, and some little incident, maybe someone says something, or that incident changed the whole thing. You're able to forgive, you're able to let go. Not only that, you're able to hug and embrace. You see, that's how life situation, that's called interdependence. It's not independent. Conditioned phenomena is never independent. Conditioned phenomena are all interdependent. Complexity. So therefore, the third noble truth, the cessation, is very important to understand interdependency. Without understanding interdependence, it'll be very hard to understand what teaching on ultimate reality of phenomena. Whether it's ultimate reality of external elements, atoms, or our body and skandha, or whether it's internal phenomena of our consciousness, how the mind is. So that's like, the basis of understanding of our mind and our life, the Four Noble Truths. Now then, once you have a better understanding of yourself, your mind, then we try to, now how do we deal? The Buddha's teaching is, how do we deal with in our life? What kind of person we should be in order to gain liberation, in order to gain nirvana? Then definitely we need heart, compassion. Compassion to oneself, and obviously compassion to all beings. Without compassion to oneself, and without compassion to all beings, there is no way you will come out of ego's world. Ego is very powerful. Ignorance is powerful. And compassion with wisdom can only strike that ego. But compassion without wisdom cannot strike the ego. It can mellow up the ego, but it won't go away. So therefore, the third noble truth, cessation, or the teaching on emptiness, is vital, important to understand mind. That's called prajna, prajna paramita in the Heart Sutra, or prajna in Sanskrit means knowledge, gyan, seeing the truth, which can cut through the ignorance and cut through deception. So you need prajna. Because when we look at why the wisdom is required in order to cut through the ego, and wisdom is, what is wisdom? Of course, wisdom can be many levels too, external level, inner level, very secret level. It can go deeper and deeper. But on the first thing, in order to cut through ignorance, you need understanding of reality of dependent origination, interdependence. If you don't have interdependence, you are trapped, confused. Ego won't go away. By seeing interdependent nature, when you see it devoid of any intrinsic existence or independent existence, then your minds open up. You begin to see the truth, reality. No such emotion is independent. No such phenomena is independent. They're all like devoid of intrinsic nature. And therefore is possible. Why things are possible? Because, of interdependent. Why you have a red rose flower and yellow rose flower or multiple multiple flowers, so different design houses, different shapes of people, different emotions and thought, because of dependent origination. Otherwise, it won't be like that. The world will be like a communist block housing system. Boring. Here in America, you have the Victorian style house, you have the modern building style, you have the skyscraper, you have a country cottage, all the different designs are beautiful, you see. But you go to earlier you go to Poland or you go to Russia, you see all blocks, the same. You never know where you are. It's very boring, for example, no art. It's like stale and like that. So therefore, it's very important to understand the dependent origination. Whoever sees dependent origination sees the truth and able to cut through ignorance. It's in the teaching. There's a verse in the teaching. So therefore, compassion with wisdom is extremely important. So yes, we can say that wisdom may come a little bit after, because those who are just beginning, they may not really have a deep grasp to the wisdom, which is very deep. But at least first they try with the compassion. That's why we do Tonglen practice. Like for example, how important your mother is. You know how important your father is. You know how important your loved ones are. And so therefore, first you start with your mother, like when you take Tonglen, who has been so grateful to you, raised you, fed you. You are here today sitting on this zafu or on this chair because of your mother. So therefore, my mother who is going through this suffering, let me take some of her suffering, by taking her suffering when you breathe in and when you breathe out, give your joy to her. And then gradually, you expand that further and further and further until you reach all sentient beings. Deep sense of compassion to relieve the suffering of all sentient beings. And of course, in the Mahayana teaching, explain all being has been our parents. Whether yes, we have taken so many lifetimes, and it's possible they have all been our parents, but whether they've been our parents or not, just like myself, I don't want suffering, all beings are same, they don't want suffering. Just like I want happiness, all beings are same, they want happiness. And so your heart begin to get, that sense of awareness of compassion gets larger and larger and larger. And then your ego becomes less and less, and egocentric becomes further less and less. The deep sense of clinging and fear become less and less, and you become more and more open. And that's what we call holistic approach to life. Holistic approach to life is you can't be a holistic approach to life if you are like fixated to an ego so strong and self-centered. There is no way you can become holistic approach. Holistic approach should have able to shed some of those habits of ego and egocentric. Otherwise, it's not possible to be holistic. So therefore, you practice that, then slowly and slowly, then you begin to see the dependent origination. And then you begin to lose, the ego begin to lose the grip on you, that false build up. And then the awareness, then you begin to have some level of touch with your awareness. You haven't had touch with your awareness until then. It's like way far away. Then you just begin to have some sense of your awareness, finally, which is transcending ignorance. And that's what we are trying to learn in meditation practice. Meditation practice is not tranquilizing. Meditation practice is not, getting into some altered state. Meditation teaching is working with this very mind right now, whatever you have, and seeing its inner depth of your nature. Seeing it clearly, your mind is meditation practice. So for that, methods, how to see that now. Again, you just sit like this, close your eyes, nothing will happen then. You need to know how to meditate. In order to meditate, you need to know how to sit. You need to know the proper posture of sitting, and you're gazing, whether it's, some people close their eyes or some people open their eyes, and how you should relax, you should not penetrate. You should know all those things in order to meditation. Then your meditation will become good. Whether your meditation becomes successful or not depends how you do the meditation. In Tibetan word, there is called jaktab. How you place your mind is how you place your mind. It's like, if you have like a crooked leg, if you sit in a crooked leg chair, moment you place your body, it will fall down and you will be hit on the ground and you will get injured yourself. But if you have a strong 4 legs on a chair and then you sit on that, then your body will stay stable and you will feel comfortable. Right? Same thing with your mind. If you know how to, meditate properly, how to place your mind, then the meditation will go flow very easily. But if you don't know how to meditate, meaning how to place your mind in the right way, your meditation is going to go wrong. Whether your meditation will go in the right way or the wrong way depends how you place your mind. And for that, you need instruction from the teacher how to sit and how to meditate. Otherwise, you cannot do by yourself. And then also you will have a lot of experience, lots of different experience along the path. And then you need to clarify with your teacher, asking question now, this is my experience, is it right, is it wrong? And then you are put to further different methods of meditation. And then finally you come to see your awareness. And when you come to see your awareness, then the depth of awareness, what really then depth of awareness means. For example, some people think in Buddhism, liberation means emptiness. And a lot of people have an idea of emptiness means nothingness. Nothingness, there's nothing special about nothingness. If Buddhism can only offer nothingness, I would rather go, and drink a Coke and take a pot. Now today it's legal to say one can take a pot, a smoke a hashish, and you get some kind of altered state of mind that's maybe more joyful than like nothingness. That's not what nothingness means. Nothingness or emptiness, I think the word nothingness is not really proper. Emptiness is also a language, but what really means absence of independent existence. But then when you go deeper in your nature, it's called clear light. Now light creates amazing situation in life, isn't it? When we see like neon lights, in the cities, We see blue lights, red lights, green lights, multiple colors light, flashing light, very colorful, very nice. Like you go to, some big cities, you can all those neon lights, colorful. People like it, enjoy it, like a carnival. There's something special there. So mind has the deeper level of something deep inside the clear light, means something deep level of qualities. And that, right now, um, if you try to project that, then you are again blocking it. The way to reach there is first starting with shamatha meditation, and then you're going to understand what clear light means, a joyful in nature. Three of the qualities, for example. When you do the meditation in the right way, you're going to have three basic experiences. One is called Deva, means joy, tremendous joy. Selva means tremendous clarity, because now you're able to remove the ignorance and habits and all its influence and all its traps. Can you imagine what will happen to you when that happens to you in your mind? Free of all the traps, free of all the influence of ignorance and its habits and its emotion. There is something very rich, clarity, joyful. And then emptiness means no disturbance of fixated mind or independent kind of mind. You're free of anger, you're free of all affliction emotion, then minds will totally open. So the whole energy become transformed. The energy become transformed on the sutra way you can call bodhisattvas, on the Vajrayana level called Daka Dakinis, or Vidyadharas, very rich, that how look, this very mind when it's trapped in the ego's world, ego's mind and ego's world, how much affliction is there? And we create a world. We create Second World War. Can you imagine? We create First World War. And we have so many tribal wars. And now today we are in the threshold of Third World War. That kind of power in that confusion, in that projection. And now reverse that, seeing the nature of infinite joy, infinite clarity, infinite absence of all deception. What kind of enlightened world is there to experience? Quite something. All the enlightened world, free of deception. Anyway, so now let's not talk about many other things, but let's just go to the practice of meditation. Practice of meditation, we talk about first today, how Buddha gave the teaching in corresponding to our world system and guiding us, through our own emotions. And then finally, how to now go deeper to the awareness is the practice of meditation. Now in meditation practice, so how do you go deeper to true nature of your mind, step by step? The first thing is shamatha meditation. Now we need to have a grounding, because the biggest problem with ego mind, there's no grounding. Ego mind is always jumping here and there, like a monkey mind or whatever, never in one place. That's how fixated to every little thing. We find issues in every little thing. If you close your eyes before you fall asleep, you have so many ideas and so many thoughts. When you wake up, you have so many ideas and so many thoughts. Constantly, mind running here and running there and making issues, never letting you be free. You can never rest because you're constantly, influenced in all directions by your thoughts and emotions and your habits. So now first thing is sit straight in meditation. your spine, should be straight, and your neck should be relaxed, not looking up or bending down, just straight. And the whole thing should be very relaxed. That's important in meditation. The body absolutely relaxed. And then, like, relax means no tightening, because we always have tense. That's how the ego mind works. Always there's a tense. So let loose the tense, let loose the body, and sit straight. Nevertheless, sit straight, not like flop down, but sit straight. And then once your body is straight, then say in your own mind, on the zafu is my body, and in my body is my mind, and my mind relaxed. Like you have a lasso, cowboys have lasso, and when they throw it, you just completely let go like that. Now you completely drop it, your mind, just here and now drop it. And then you go to your breathing. Now you go to your breathing, then focus to the breath. That's the measurement, where to have your measurement of your awareness, in other words. Whether you're aware or not, your one-pointed concentration to your breath will tell you. So your mind is supposed to be completely concentrated to your breath, one-pointedly. And just simply, and that also not like, doesn't mean that you should, when I say your mind should be concentrated one-pointedly, it doesn't mean you should penetrate and hold it so uptight. No, not at all. You should have just simply being there and just breathe it naturally. Breathe it, the breathing goes out, breathing goes in. Your mind is simply be with that. And focus to that, just being aware. And then now you need to be aware of it. Of course, you're not a dead being, but we act like a dead being many times. The dead being, the meaning is dead being is not aware. Once the body is there, there's no mind, so there's no question of awareness. So if you do meditation like a dead person, meaning, you're not there, your mind is gone out, there is no benefit. Therefore, one-pointed concentration means you are just there, aware of your mind. And that's it. And you're aware of everything. You don't have to shut your mind at all. You're aware of your breathing, it may be, or you're aware of some thoughts coming, or some emotion arising, or anything happening. Or just, inside, you're feeling. It's okay to have aware. Meditation never said that you should not have aware, or you need to shut your awareness. That's not really the point of meditation. Point of meditation is to be aware, but to be aware, not clinging to it, just seeing it and then let it be. That's the method, seeing it and let it be. And then a smell come, also you're aware of the smell, but then you let it be. So anything happening in your mind, thoughts, emotion, devotion, or some negative thoughts or positive, whatever happens, whatever arises, you just simply see that and then almost like detach. Doesn't mean that you have to reject something. It says, in fact, do not reject. Oh, this is a bad thought, I need to reject. This is a good thought, I need to keep. Then again, you lost the point of awareness. Here, awareness means simply seeing the mind, totally open. And whatever is happening, you just let it be. That's it. Neither there's guilt trip, nor there is some kind of spiritual trip, nor there is some samsaric trip. All kinds of trips, you let go. Because when you let it be, means you let it be in the way it is, the mind way it is, in how the mind it is in the present state. So that's simple in a way. So aware, of course, for us, awareness is a problem because we are habituated in instantly making something out of it. If you think of like a food, you think, okay, I'm going to go and eat that food. Or I don't like that food. I want to do this way. Or something like that. We always make an issue. The point here is you can have the thoughts arising, but don't get trapped into that. Just be aware of it and then just simply let it be. That's it. That's the whole point of breathing meditation. In fact, breathing meditations is not about, we talk about breathing, but no, you're not supposed to get fixated to breathing either. That breath is like a medium, so to speak, a channel where you skillfully work through, because we all human beings, as long as we're alive, we will breathe. So that's just like a channeling. And then your consciousness, or mindfulness is there. You're aware of it. And when you lose, some thoughts come and you are lost, then you lost your awareness. So your mindfulness will bring it back. So mindfulness and awareness is the most important in meditation practice. How to do it, how to relax, just being there. So method is simple, but of course not easy. It requires a lot of sitting practice to have the mind come to that state. And then and definitely when you sit, you will definitely see a change. There's no way escape from that. You will see a transformation. That's how you're working with the mind. You will feel more open, more free, more relaxed, more joyful, more clarity. And so minds get deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay, so then now let's do a meditation. Relax your mind. Don't panic. Just relax your mind. Be aware and let it be. Don't judge. The moment you judge, your mind gets lost. Be in the moment. Basically relax your mind and just simply be aware. Don't stop your thoughts. Don't go after the thoughts. Be with the breath. There is a sense of, if you look into your mind, what we all face, the biggest hurdle, is like that sense of uptightness in the mind. Even when you try to relax, in fact, you see, if I don't want to relax, can make furthermore uptight. I need to relax. I need to relax. So basically, learn how to let go and then just be with the breath. No big deal, but be with awareness. Otherwise, your mind is spoiled. You are habituated in distraction. Even for an instant, the mind will not be there. It will go to some thoughts, some ideas, some emotion, and instantly it will be gone like thousands of miles away, so to speak. So just be here and now. And then when you see if your mind has been distracted, don't feel like guilty. Just recognize it. That's it. And then let go. Okay. So now if you have any questions, we can have question answer period. Any questions? Okay, so then let's do a world peace prayer. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit, may all beings given omniscient, thus defeat the neuroses, which are the enemies.
Which are from the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may all beings be liberated.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I do have a question. I didn't realize I had to turn my microphone on. Is it too late?
Yes.
Okay, so today is full moon day. And so, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Today is full moon day. So one is meant to do a soak and that of one's yidam. And I do recall it's yidam, Yidam, Dakini, and Guru, or Guru, Yidam, and Dakini. But I was having this conversation with a friend, and I don't think I understand exactly what one's Yidam is. I understand it's maybe the practice one does most often, but I'm not entirely certain.
Okay. Where did you get your Yidam practice and Guru practice and Dakini practice? Who taught you that?
Namkha Drime Rinpoche and Kusum Lingpa Rinpoche.
Okay. But you didn't study well about that, did you?
Apparently, I don't. I understood Dakini was a feminine practice, but I understand that Tara, for example, can be also one's Yidam.
You see, this is the thing. I'm glad you brought this question. You see, a lot of students, they jump into Vajrayana practice, and that's dangerous. You know, the notion of Guru and Yidam and Dakin is very profound. It takes you to the whole different level. Before one jump to that level, one should do really good bodhicitta practice, bodhisattva practice. So I really recommend people doing sitting practice, Tonglen practice, do meditation, of course, sitting practice, meditation, Tonglen, and Bodhisattva Yana practice. Once you have an understanding of that well, then you need a teacher. You just can't jump here and jump there. What is Guru? You don't even know what is Guru. You don't even know what is.
I know what Guru. And I know what is Dakini. I'm unclear on what
Dakini is very deep. You don't know Dakini. You don't know Dakini. You know what does Dakini means? Let me ask you. Do you know what is Dakini means?
I thought it is a feminine deity.
What does that mean? What does feminine deity means?
So it could be Tara, it could be lion-faced Dakini, it could be any number of.
Okay, that's the external picture. What's the true Dakini?
A true Dakini is the wisdom.
And what is wisdom?
Wisdom is what we generate, hopefully, through the two accumulations.
Yeah, that's not. You see, that's why I'm saying first do meditation. Really go step by step. When you get into Vajrayana practice, you really have to work with your teacher. Do you understand what really is Lama, what really is Yidam, what really is Dakini? When you have a very like a misty idea of Guru and Yidam and Dakini, nothing clear, that's dangerous.
Well, Guru is teacher, I presume, yes?
Yeah, but what does Guru means?
Who you link your mind and your, I don't know how to define it, but your teacher is who you call upon when you do any practice.
Yeah, but then how do you link your mind to that Guru? Let me
to
ask you.
your Guru's mind stream.
And what does that mean?
Well, that's one aspect. That means that they're your root guru and you keep them in mind to develop the qualities they have.
Yeah, it's not good enough. That explanation is, I'm not sorry to say that. I'm not criticizing you. I want you to do further study and know but deeper about what really Guru means. Outer Guru, inner Guru, secret Guru. When we don't really have a good understanding of that, then everything gets really fuzzy. So better not to do Vajrayana practice right away. First do the sitting practice, Tonglen practice, Bodhisattvayana practice. Then you need to really work with your guru. Whoever is your guru, work closely, have understanding of this outer, inner, and secret meaning. Same thing, outer, inner, and secret meaning of Yidam, outer, inner, secret meaning of Dakini. Without deep understanding of that, it's just so vague, and many people get lost. They don't understand Vajrayana.
Let me tell you what I think the issue is, in part, that at least in Los Angeles, we've had such a wealth of initiations and empowerments and so many teachers coming through, right? So sometimes when I sit to do a sadhana or a soak, I'm thinking, should I do a Red Tara soak? Oh, it's Guru Rinpoche. That's easy. It's Guru Rinpoche soak. But, when I first got introduced to Tibetan Buddhism and I was trying to maintain my commitments for all the like amazing number of practices, I would like put them in a crystal bowl, right? And the name of each text and practice, and say a prayer, lead me to the practice I should do now, and pull one out. Then I did Vajrasattva for a whole year, 2 years. I've been doing Nundro most recently. But I feel like I've had, so many, and I have a wealth of texts. We've just had this abundance where I feel so pulled. Should I do, this practice, that practice? And so
that's what I'm saying, people get
don't-
lost. It's all spiritual materialism. They're not really spiritual practice then. So therefore, of course, it's good in a way if you can maintain a devotion, then, that's good. But maintaining a devotion means you need to know deeper where your devotion is going to what. What is that your devotion is connecting to? What is that meaning? So therefore, one has to really work closely when you do Vajrayana practice. So therefore, I'm afraid that in the West, people just run after initiation, this guru giving initiation, run after that. They don't know what they requires, what's the samaya requires, what's the discipline requires. It's not good. And if that's happening in Los Angeles in a way,
Not now.
many great teachers coming, wonderful, and people receiving teaching, wonderful. But they should really work with their teacher. They should really know what they're doing. And if they don't know what they're doing, then it will not benefit the person. At some point, you will lose, the whole thing will fall apart. You will lose the interest. You don't really get any sense. There, I have people, who have studied not seriously or maybe seriously, but never really understood the Vajrayana practice. They even asked me the question, let me tell you, they asked me that, this is like a cultural thing. It only works to the Tibetan, but doesn't work to the Western mind. So this is after receiving many empowerments and many things. So when the teaching is not explained and working closely and carefully and explaining, this kind of misconception happen in Vajrayana practice.
Well,
And
you
then
hmm?
once you take a empowerment, you're supposed to have, according to the Vajrayana teaching, you should have like completely, you should be able to see the teacher as a Buddha, and people can't see them as a Buddha,
I do. I see
which
my
is good, wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. But let me tell you, you keep your devotion. I'm very happy. But please do a little bit more study what I said. What is really Guru? What is really Idam? What's really Dakini? Then you have a clear perspective. The essence of all Guru is same. The mind of the Buddhas of the three time is same. Mind of your mind and the Buddha's mind is same in essence. But we need to really go deeper, step by step by step, and a clear guidance and working with a teacher. Otherwise, we get lost at some point. And that's what I'm afraid in the
but
West.
that thing about LA, we don't have teachers here. They just come and visit.
Yeah, that's dangerous. So when the teachers come, just give empowerment and then they go away, and
And
then you really don't know how to work with
you're
that, you see.
lucky if you get a 15-minute interview. So when
Yeah,
I had those
yeah,
experiences, I have asked,
yeah,
what practices should I do? So on one
yeah,
occasion, it was Gesar Tara. It was
yeah,
Gesar Tara. On another occasion, Kusum Lingpa, his thing was Organ Zambala and Vajrakalaya.
yeah,
So, and he's deceased. Namche Drime is in Nepal. He hasn't been here in many years,
yeah,
right? So, and then I just did an 8-day, 7 treasures or 9 days with Pema Osling on Zoom.
yeah.
And Lama Tarchin also died. He was a teacher I had. So, maybe you go to lunch with them with the Sangha, but it's not like you have that ongoing contact where you can say,
Yeah,
what
you
I,
need an ongoing. If you want to do Vajrayana practice, I think, let me just tell you, you need an ongoing close contact with a teacher who can advise you, guide you, and lead you. Otherwise, it's a little dangerous. Yeah,
I agree. I understand that.
yeah. Okay, okay. Good,
I do
good.
understand that. But just for clarity, and I'm reading and rereading Words of My Perfect Teacher.
That's
You,
very good to read. That's
yeah,
very good book to read.
you
Yes.
know, and I probably know but have forgotten, but Yidam is mystifying me because, I asked my friend, well, Guru Rinpoche, he said, no, that's not a Yidam practice. I said, Mahakala, not a Yidam practice.
Yidam is the expression of wisdom and compassion. So therefore, I said people should do Tonglen practice first of all.
Okay.
Build up that compassion. Then they do Bodhisattva yana practice. Then they will understand what Yidam is. Otherwise, they will never understand what Yidam is. Yeah.
Okay. And another teacher of mine was Sharmapa, and he died. And he would come once a year, and some years he didn't come at all. And people who could take the time would go see him in Washington, D.C. for a week at a time. But I was not able to do that.
Yeah.
So you've been hit and run, Keith, in some reason.
It's wonderful you're doing practice. I'm very happy. You know, but do some more, you know, instead of jumping into like a yidam, jumping into this Vajrayana teaching, first, you know, remember today I said, look at how Four Noble Truth teaching is given, step by step. Finally, it comes to their mind. Then you understand the whole thing. Otherwise, you know, it's like doing someone who just entered the school and then just go to the PhD right away. There's no way one can understand what that means. So there is that danger.
Yeah, when I do the sadhanas of the, and I do, you know, I do several, you know, I do two, not a million, I do 2 or 3, okay? I feel an immediate result. I mean, the quality of that day of my mind is much clearer.
Good, very good. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. What
So
I'm saying, one should understand deeper, and when you especially work on Vajrayana practice that you're doing, you need a Vajrayana teacher to work with. Otherwise, there's no one to guide you. You know, it's like, let's say you want to go on a long bridge, let's say, made of bamboos, and
Mhm.
underneath is like a huge river, and the bridge is kind of like requires a lot of balance, and without a guide, then it can be dangerous. If you know how to cross it, you will get across, great. But in the meantime, you can fall down too. So you see, there's so something
You
like
know,
that. You have to
Rinpoche,
do,
that's so
yes.
interesting. I have to tell you, 2 nights ago, I had this dream. Exactly a bridge. A woman was leaping, you know, onto a bridge, but then the other side was just a cliff. I leapt onto the bridge following her, but she kept going and I couldn't jump over the cliff.
Okay.
I have
All
a
right.
The
question.
metaphor you just gave me, and I'm like, I'm all alone here. What am I supposed to do? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But you see, it's important to work with one's teacher, and so and then follow the teacher's instruction. That's how you do Vajrayana practice. Otherwise, it's a little bit dangerous without knowing what it meant and how to do it. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you were saying things in order there, and I couldn't understand what you said. You said meditation, then you said tolu something. I couldn't understand what word. And then you said Nicandro, etc. You're saying start with, you know, meditation, and then you said a
I
word.
said Tonglen. Tonglen is exchanging happiness and suffering. Take
Oh
the
yeah.
suffering of other being. That's called Len in Tibetan. Len means to take, and
Okay.
Tong means to give. Yeah,
Okay.
taking and sending. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Then I'm on the right track with
You're
that.
welcome.
How many do I know you? But it was like a weekend, you'd be at Carol Wilson's, you know, for a day or two and very busy in LA, you know, and then another weekend, correct?
Mhm.
Right? But
Say that again. I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I met you in Los Angeles. You
Okay.
stay with Carol Wilson
Okay.
and you would teach for a couple of days. It would be like a weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. And
But I usually don't give Vajrayana teaching just like that. I really need to know the student if they can really do it, because otherwise, just give a empowerment and then I think we do give like a long life empowerment as a blessing, And to receive like a Lokeshwara, our Lokeshwara empowerment, compassion is great, but that also requires, if you want to do practice, it requires furthermore deeper understanding and commitment. So, but then like when you talk Vajrakilaya, when you talk any like the higher Girva, when you talk any of the complex Guya Garba practice, anything, you
Wrathful.
really have to know. And besides, you guys are not ready for wrathful practice. First, we need to develop compassion, and without knowing compassion, there is so much danger of getting the wrong idea, as it is mentioned in the Vajrayana teaching. One should go step by step by step. So I don't give my student just like that. If I have to give, then I know I'm there for them and I would work closely with them. Otherwise, it's too dangerous to give Vajrayana teaching without knowing how to do it and what it meant. Yeah.
Well, I think I know what it means. I just think I have some confusion and need more guidance.
Yeah.
When I sit down and practice, I'm good. But when I have to think about, okay, it's full moon, so on the full moon, one does a Yidam practice. And then, I kind of got into a whole thing in my mind.
Okay.
So how would you define one's Yidam?
It's
Because
very complex. I can't answer in 2 minutes. Yidam, just to understand Yidam, those who do Yidam practice, the actual practice of Yidam, how to do Yidam practice, if one is to study, it will take 2-3 months just to know it. It's not something in 5 minutes you can describe Yidam.
Well, just the foundation of it. It's like your deity, right?
What I said, if you understand compassion, then you may have a glimpse of what Yidam is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if I'm going to do a full moon soak, I think tonight, because it's the full moon, I can do, Chenrezig, or I can do Tara.
Yes, you do with taking refuge. You do with taking bodhicitta mind, which is like all Dharma practice in Vajrayana. There's refuge, bodhicitta, which goes at the beginning. Then the actual practice, which is in the center. Then at the end, there is dedication. So those three things is important that to have a deep level of devotion is very important in Vajrayana practice. Otherwise, in order to gain devotion, you need to know meaning actually, and you need to have some experience. Otherwise, you won't gain the devotion. You wouldn't know at some point, you don't know what you're doing. You see,
No, I know what.
And then one will relate to the Yidam as some form, Dakini also some form, and then you get trapped up in some idea and form. That's not what the true essence of a Lama in Yidam and Dakini means. Yeah.
No, I know. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but when I practice, I always do refuge, and I always do offerings and generation of the deity, and I
So
always.
do you know the outer, inner, and secret meaning of refuge?
I do.
Good. That's important. Do you know outer, inner, and secret meaning of bodhicitta?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then if you know, then it is much better. Yeah. But it's difficult. I know that's not that easy to know. You may say you know, but you may only know 5%. You still have to do 95% you don't know. It's not that easy. It's not easy to know refuge, because if you really know refuge, then you will find liberation right now. You will be in awareness. That's why I said start with meditation and compassion, and then gradually wisdom will grow. Otherwise, you may identify with another fixation, so therefore really one is to work carefully with a teacher.
use the word fixation.
Because if if you say, oh, Yidam means Vajikilaya, you're seeing that as a form.
No.
Yidam,
I know there's a distinction, for example, between the protectors and Yidam deities. My friend was saying to me, there's many Yidams and Varjakalaya, Tara, this one, that one, but Malakala's not a Yidam, for example. He said.
Mahakala is a Yidam. Who says Mahakala is not a Yidam?
Yidam, and he's Kala Rinpoche's his Yidam. I know.
But Yidam, you see, Yidam means, Yidam, in order to completely have a good understanding of Yidam, you need to have a deep understanding of emptiness. And then you need to have a deep understanding of compassion. Then you will know what Yidam is. That's what my point is. And to know that, you need to do sitting practice, you need to practice compassion, you need to do Tonglen, then gradually your mind builds up to that state. Otherwise, it won't get to that state.
Well, I do those 3 practices, and I actually have been teaching my patients Tonglen.
Okay,
but
good, very good.
Conversation I was having with my friend who said, this isn't, Malakala's not a Yidam. Lion face bikini's not a Yidam. I'm like, yes, she is. Why isn't she? So what threw me off? I thought, oh, my concept of Yidam is wrong.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It takes a while to understand. You should study more.
I know.
Reflect more. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? So today we talk about Four Noble Truths and how would they relate with our mind. The teaching is through our mind, through our own pattern of our thinking and thoughts and emotion. And then how to recognize ignorance, what can cut through that ignorance. And that is through the practice of awareness meditation. So this is very important, my message today. And then everyone practice well and keep your awareness, keep your holistic view of caring and compassion in your daily life. And when we talk about mind, it's very, very deep. You need to do some study by reading books and reflecting on yourself. And then when you don't understand, ask me, I'm here, and then, or sometimes we can set up an appointment. If you have any personal, you need interview, contact Tracy, and then I will also, we can, have interviews also. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Good night.